The last thing I expected to see when I walked into my own home was a team of paramedics in my living room. They stood frozen, bags in hand, staring at me as I dropped my keys in shock. Behind them, the HOA president, Patricia Klein, helped herself to rummaging through my bookshelf like she was searching for buried treasure. "What the hell is going on?" I demanded. Patricia spun around, pretending to look relieved. "Oh, thank goodness you're alive," she declared dramatically. "I was at work." "I called 911, she said proudly. "A concerned neighbor reported screaming inside the home. I told dispatch you were unresponsive. We had to act." One of the paramedics stepped forward, confused. "Ma'am, we heard no screaming upon arrival. She insisted it was a medical emergency." I knew exactly what this was. Patricia's obsession with catching residents breaking rules. She had tried fines, inspections, arbitrary citations. Now she was using emergency services as a key. I looked her dead in the eyes. "You faked a medical emergency just to get inside my house." She didn't deny it. She smirked. "If you keep things compliant, I wouldn't have to check." The arrogance was nauseating. She wandered toward my hallway, toward my bedroom. A paramedic blocked her path. "Ma'am, unless you are family or legal guardian, you need to stay in one place." I smiled slightly. "Check the camera." Mounted high on the wall was a discreet security camera, blinking red. It caught everything. Paramedics began packing up equipment, irritated. "We'll file the call as false. A supervisor will follow up." Patricia tried to save herself. "It's a misunderstanding. I only wanted to help." "You exploited emergency services to violate my privacy. And that's illegal." She scoffed. "You can't prove criminal intent." I pointed at the camera. "We'll let the sheriff decide." That was the moment the smirk vanished from her face. But this was only the beginning.
The sheriff arrived within 20 minutes. He reviewed the paramedic report. Then he watched my camera footage. Patricia pacing outside my home, listening at the windows, whispering into the phone. "He's hurt. He's unconscious. We need access now." Then she followed the paramedics inside and immediately began snooping through drawers. The sheriff lowered the tablet and stared at her. "You lied to emergency dispatch," he said sternly. "It was a suspicion," Patricia stammered. "You told them the homeowner was unresponsive and possibly dying." She swallowed. "It was necessary to ensure compliance." The sheriff stepped closer. "Compliance does not override criminal law. You made a false emergency report. That is a crime." Neighbors began gathering outside as the conversation escalated. Patricia tried to turn the crowd against me. "This resident repeatedly refuses inspections. He has something to hide." Someone shouted back, "He's allowed to have privacy." Another added, "You've been spying on people for months." Her support evaporated on the spot. Patricia pointed a shaking finger at me. "You just think you're smarter." "I am prepared," I replied calmly, handing the sheriff a USB drive. "Security footage, audio recordings, documented harassment attempts." The sheriff nodded. "We'll be forwarding this to the district attorney." Patricia's eyes widened. "You can't seriously charge me." "False emergency reports punishable by fines and jail time, and the HOA will be held responsible for your misuse of authority." Patricia stumbled backward. The sheriff said, "You're not under arrest yet, but you're being removed from the property now." As deputies escorted her away, I felt a weight lift. Finally, the evidence was undeniable. The mask she wore had shattered in front of everyone. The case had begun.
The HOA scrambled to distance themselves from Patricia. At the next board meeting, half the community showed up, furious. Voices boomed through the hall. She could have gotten someone killed. She abused first responders. She treats us like criminals in our own homes. Patricia sat stiffly at the front table, pale and sweating. I waited until the room fell quiet. Then I stepped to the microphone and laid out the facts. Privacy is not a suggestion. Calling 911 is not a tool for petty control. We are homeowners, not inmates. Applause thundered through the room. I presented notarized copies of the camera footage, dispatch transcript, paramedic statements, and a timeline of prior harassment. The board looked cornered. I finished with one sentence. If you allow her to remain president, you are complicit. The vote followed immediately. Patricia was terminated from her role, removed from board membership, barred from decision-making altogether. Now came the legal consequences. The DA reviewed the case. Patricia faced charges for filing a false emergency report, criminal trespass, harassment, misuse of authority. Her attorney tried to negotiate a plea. We agreed on conditions. Community service hours with emergency response groups, mandatory HOA privacy training for all board members, formal public apology read out loud to residents, full prohibition from entering any homeowner's property, substantial monetary settlement paid to me and emergency responders. Patricia's signature trembled on every page. Humiliation finally reached her. But accountability was not the end. It was the start of new rules. Months later, the community was calmer. The fear of being spied on was gone. Emergency services were respected again. One evening, the fire chief himself visited my home to thank me. "You helped us stop a dangerous trend," he said. "Calls like that waste resources and put lives at risk." I told him the truth. I just wanted to feel safe inside my own house. The new HOA president established a residential privacy charter. No board member may enter private property without explicit written consent. Emergency claims must come from verifiable threats or lawful inspection orders. Surveillance of any kind without authorization is grounds for removal. Every resident is presumed compliant unless proven otherwise. A community learning how to trust again. Patricia eventually moved out. No one misses her. Her name became a lesson. Power misused becomes power removed. As for me, the cameras are still installed, not from fear, but to remember that rights must always be protected. I sit on my porch sometimes, watching quiet evenings pass peacefully. No more pounding violations on my door, no more spying, no more fake emergencies. People wave as they walk by, neighbors smile again. And I think, she broke into my home, hoping to control me. I opened the truth and set everyone free. Privacy isn't granted by the HOA. It is defended by those who refuse to be violated. I didn't just win a case. I changed a community.